Welcome to Smash Writing. I am your host, Paul, and this is... You may speak, Justin.
Yeah, I'm not there with you, so you can't make me.
Okay. He is in the parts of the unknown, and today we are doing another episode of original versus remake. And today's movies that we are talking about is The Fog. The original one came out in 1980, and the
remake was 2015.
I thought it was 2005.
Oh, 2005. Sorry, I wrote 2015. Scribbled it out.
This is going off to a great start. I think this kind of tells you where Justin's going with the picks of the winner versus the loser here, if he can't even get the year that the movie came out. Let's talk. Okay, so let's talk about the original. Give us the plot summary, basically.
The plot summary starts, you get the campfire story about the Elizabeth Day, a ship that washed ashore by a fire and it sank. And the legend goes that they would return with the fog. And we go to a drunken pastor and a rock suddenly falls out and he finds a journal dated back to the incident 100 years ago at Antonio Bay, detailing what happens.
Okay.
And the electronics are going haywire, including cars, and no one has any real sense of agency of what's going on.
That is true.
I'm sure I have gone are the days of active drunk driving because we see the guy picking up the hitchhiker.
Yes.
And he just cracks open the beer and time to drink.
Okay, so then, the fog comes and stuff starts happening, basically. And, and then they try... How did, they saw...
the town is about to celebrate their 100th...
100th year existence or something like that.
Bicentennial or something.
Yeah.
And the fog comes in and it brings in...
the ship.
The ship and the ghosts that were killed by the founders are coming back for the six. They were a leper colony, I believe. They were coming to set up a leper colony.
Yes,
and the founders of Antonio Bay killed them all and stole their gold, and that's what really set the town on to
a great path.
Boom.
A boom. So, okay, and then, it's up to the six descendants, I guess you would call them.
Yeah, they're coming for the six descendants.
And they basically have to work together. This one, they don't die, do they?
No.
There
kind of is a weird moment at the end where they grab the gold cross because that was part of their fortune, I'm guessing.
Right.
And they all kind of disappear in a vash of light.
Because they were giving back the key fortune or something like that.
And at that point when they disappeared, they had killed 5 of them, and the pastor was the 6th. And at the very end, you see all the ghosts come back and they kill the pastor and you cut to black.
Gotcha. So, but they killed. I'm trying to remember because I watched it, but Tom Atkins, Nick Castle, they all live. So they had to kill, the previous generation descendants, right?
Yeah, Nick Castle and Stevie, Jamie Lee's character, they weren't the descendants.
Okay, technically they were, but they killed,
Stevie might have been a descendant. They were going after Stevie pretty hard, but I think they knew that Stevie was giving their locations away.
Gotcha. So... Now we talk about the ups and downs with this film.
I thought Stevie was a really good character here.
I will say this, and I guess this will kind of jump into, and let's just, talk about the remake as well. The plot's very identical because I guess, when I watch the movies, I also do the research on what production was and all that. They didn't really have a lot of script on this remake. A lot of the scenes were actually, newer scenes from the old movie. You can almost do a shot by shot of the movie, and it was dead on.
Oh no, we'll get to the remake later, I guess. But I did like the chemistry between Tom Atkins' character and Jamie Lee Curtis. There were two Halloween alums before Atkins was a Halloween alum.
Right, for Halloween 3.
They need to introduce his character in the next one. That's the only way I'm going to like Halloween Ends.
And there's a plug-in for Halloween Ends.
Either bring me Atkins' character back or bring me Daniel Harris back.
One or the other. That's the only way you're going to see this movie. Well,
I'll watch it, but I'm probably not going to have fun with it.
No, I don't think you have the last couple films. Well, so, this film, I didn't like how they made it the 100 years. What was stopping them from coming back year 5, year 50? I know.
Curses.
They
work in their way.
It's it has to be year 100.
100's a big round number, that works for the movie.
That is true. It's just, I was just and I'll touch upon how the remake does it, because there's hits and misses in my eyes for both films. Yeah, I did enjoy the chemistry.
This movie almost screams out for a remake, because they did what they could with what they had at the time, right?
Right.
And stuff like the fog sequences do kind of look bad. They don't age all that great.
Not at all.
It's funny to see the fog chasing them though.
Right. I will say, I felt with this film that I almost felt like he ran out of steam with making horror movies.
Oh, this was 1980.
Yeah, I guess that was in his prime.
He still had a ton more to go here.
Well, but it just seems because it wasn't living up to most of his other films. Honestly, up until this
might have been his second or third horror movie, though.
Really?
Yes.
I thought he was in the early 70s.
Hold on.
Uh-oh, see?
Make me look it up
on my phone. Justin is already just, he can't do this. I mean, I swear, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm okay with that.
Well, I didn't know you were going to besmirch the good name of Carpenter here.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing that by no means. I'm just saying, hey, you can have a miss every once in a while. That's all. I'm not. He is one of the horror legends. I'm not going to ever take that away from him. You can go down all of his movies, and I'm sure there's dozens upon dozens, and you're going to have misses. I just felt like when I was watching this film that, yeah, the cast was the best part, and I think they used the cast correctly. But that's about it for me. To be honest,
this was the second big one.
What was the first one? Halloween?
Halloween.
There was nothing in between Halloween and this film?
Well, there was a little TV horror movie kind of deal.
Okay, so this basically felt like a sophomore curse.
He did Assault on Precinct 13 before both of them, though. But that's action.
Yeah, that's a whole different type of genre there. So what's your likes? What's your dislikes about this, and how would you grade it?
Well, I like the characters. I like the story. Like I said, the fog did look kind of bad. I keep calling them the pirates, the ghosts.
Yeah.
At times did just look like mummies.
That is true.
But they were lepers, though. I didn't know that about the first one, though.
Okay.
They were lepers. I thought they remade. I thought that was a change in the remake, but no, I went back. I'm like, no, they were lepers here, too.
Yes, they kept everything pretty on tack. So what's your grade on this one?
I'm going to give it a B.
B?
It's a fun movie. B.
I did enjoy the cast. I felt like the story was good. I'm going to go a grade lower. It just didn't click with me, so I'm giving it a C. I don't want to say it was bad. I'm not saying it was good. I felt like it was an average film, definitely right around the 80s, late 70s and 80s. It was there. Honestly, I've watched the remake first, years ago, and I didn't even know it was a remake until literally you told me, hey, we're doing remake versus original, The Fog. Now, let's get into the remake. So
I don't want to. I don't want to get into the remake.
You have to, because it's remake versus original. So there's no need to talk about the plot again. The plot is basically identical.
No, that's not true. It goes from 6 to 4.
That part I did pick up on, and I wonder why they decided to knock down 6 to 4.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't have any bearing on the goddamn plot.
So, okay. I'm just going to come out and say this. The acting was tough to watch.
I thought there was only one good actor in this.
Who was it?
That was Stevie again, Selma Blair's character.
Okay. And the crazy part is, there was no chemistry amongst the cast. They focused the story on Nick Castle and Elizabeth.
And they didn't even give me the satisfaction of watching Nick die. Because like we were talking about, this guy's a jackass. He really did deserve to die.
That is true. Like I said,
maybe you can explain the ending of this movie, because I don't understand what happened at the end of this movie.
So, I mean, I can tell you, do I understand it? Apparently, this version, in this remake, Elizabeth is the reincarnation of the captain's girlfriend. So, I guess when he went to go kiss her, he basically killed her and made her go back to her reincarnation. That is literally what I'm getting out of that.
Okay, then. Sure, why not?
Well, I mean, see, that is the thing. That's what I pieced together, and I thought that was... They could have just kept it descendants. Like, she could have been, like, a descendant of one of the wives. And supposedly, when I was doing my research, she was also a double thing, because not only was she a descendant, too, but she was a descendant of both of them. So she was a reincarnation and a descendant. Which...
Descendant of whom?
I don't know. They just labeled her as a descendant. I know.
Lord.
I know. This was so okay. Now, obviously, this one had, I think, like a slightly higher budget. So the graphics was
well, yeah, like I said, like the fog screamed out to be remade because of the advances we had, and the fog could have looked better and everything. And it does, but then it's like, where are you going?
Yeah, I know.
You're like standing there on the path you thought it was going to go down, and they're like way over lost, screaming for help.
So now the one thing that I did, I guess the part of the story that I did enjoy, was how the ghost ship came back. Basically, Nick and his crew dropped anchor, and they dug up something from the ship, and that released...
Yeah, it released their personal items, blah, blah, blah. But they were still celebrating the 100th year, weren't they? They said that's what the statue was for.
But that's the funny thing, that they can't, because the film Chronicle timeline puts the events of the film 134 years after the town was founded.
Oh, I love the fact that you had him in the scene at the end. Like, look at these pictures. And it was like, run downtown, booming town. Like, what happened in the middle here? I'm like, well, you never fucking noticed that before.
Right.
All these pictures on your damn wall in the restaurant. No, never noticed that before.
Yeah, this was totally out of place. And another thing that they did that made it... Jamie Lee Curtis was Elizabeth in the first one, correct?
Yes.
Did she have visions?
No.
No. Okay. So her character, the Elizabeth character in the first film, was literally
an actual drifter.
Okay. So then in this one, they made Elizabeth Nick Castle's ex-girlfriend, who, for some god-awful reason, was walking on a dark fucking road in the middle of the night.
She was coming back to town.
But did she have to do it at that time of night?
Well, I don't know her travel plans. I'm not her travel agent.
Right? So, but anyway,
you know what I do know, though, in this movie? That kind of really hinted at was that Nick was on his way to go bang Stevie. So all he did was stop. Like, I'm not going to go bang her. My ex is right here. I'll bang this one instead.
Oh, that was what you were talking about. Because in the I thought you were talking about Nick banging Stevie in the original.
No, the remake.
Oh, I did not catch
his body. We're talking about that when they go off the Seagrass. He's going to go pick up the clutch, and he's like, "You're going to go see Stevie too, aren't you?"
Oh,
I really insinuated that he's going to go see Stevie.
I missed that line. I didn't catch that line.
And he's on his way to pick up the clutch and, as insinuated, go see Stevie when he runs into his girlfriend, or his ex. That is so, wow. Like, I you know what? I really didn't catch that line. So when you were bringing that up, that kind of threw me off because I'm like, wait, is he talking about the original or the remake? Yeah, I mean, hey, if you want to double dip, I guess, knock yourself out. Yeah, but do you see how that sets the stage for him being a douche?
That is true, because it's like, obviously...
Like that, you expect to die.
Yeah. And so, another issue that I have was the amount of focus on the characters besides Nick and Elizabeth. I'll be honest with you, in the remake, I thought these were like Stevie, Father Malone, who's the mayor or whatever. For the longest time, I thought these, like Stevie alone, I thought was a random character that was just in the film. Now, mind you, I did watch this one first before I went back and watched the remake.
Yeah.
So
the original.
Yeah, sorry, the original. So when I'm watching the remake first, I'm like, okay, what does Stevie have to do with anything? And I'm like, okay, they're focusing on, the main characters. Okay, I get it. But then when I watched the original, I'm like, oh, they're doing a better job at spreading the amount of character development to where Father Malone and Stevie are part of this. Where it took me a good while to realize Stevie was a part of it in the remake. So,
but in remake 2, like, they set up the descendant thing again.
Yes,
but they didn't do anything. Like, what did the ghost come here for? It wasn't to get revenge on the descendants. Most of them survived. They only killed the mayor.
That is true.
Oh no, the mayor and Elizabeth's mom.
Oh, yeah, because once again, it's the whole, they're a descendant, and then,
But, like, they made sure to note that so was Stevie and Nick.
Right, and there's nothing. Okay, I think,
But here's another thing.
Uh-oh.
This was a curse of the mid-2000s because another movie fell in this category.
Which
Don't
one?
make PG-13. You can make a PG-13 horror, but you gotta do better than this.
That is true. So, what's your...
the great scene of the pastor and the flying glass around him?
Right.
Like, that could have been, like, up there with great horror scenes. But you went PG-13, had no blood. You have all these guts, bits of glass cutting through them, but nothing.
Nothing. So, what would you give this remake?
D.
All right. Now, obviously, your winner is going to be the original, I'm guessing.
Yeah, the original.
So, for this one, for the remake, I think I am in agreement with you. I think it is a below-average horror movie. There are some things they did right. I did kind of like how they released the ghost back. I'm not the biggest fan
They
of...
had all these pieces being picked up, but they didn't mean anything. They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything with the items.
That is true. I guess it was just a way to release them to come get revenge or something. That was like the only little aspect I liked about this film. I didn't like the ex-girlfriend being such a big role. I didn't like that the other descendants were nothing more than side characters. This was a Nick and Elizabeth story. So yeah, I'm giving it a D, and I'm honestly going to go with the original. So I believe this is 2 originals in a row for me.
Yeah.
That I am picking the original. I'm not, and I gave the original a C. This one, the remake's a D. There are things that obviously the original did good. I did like how you knew who the descendants were. The story focused on all of them and still kept the picture on Tom Atkins and Jamie Lee Curtis, obviously being the bigger stars.
I'm not even sad. They gave Stevie a lot of time too, and she was acting as eyes and ears for everyone from the Lighthouse.
Yeah, and that's why I understood why she was important, because the original did that. The remake made her seem like a random character that you're like, oh, she's part of it. Even though I'm not trying to knock it, but I'm going with the original on this one as well. So the original Fog is better than the remake Fog.
This is the first time we've agreed on an original, because last time we split.
So do you want to tell the audience of what the next one will be?
What the hell? We'll do Hellboy next.
Okay, so you change your mind back and forth on Hellboy.
Yeah, we've been bouncing back. I've been bouncing around that target now for a little bit.
All right, so next time we record and we do original versus remake, you heard it here. It's going to be...
Wait, I lied.
Uh-oh.
I lied. We're bouncing it one more month.
Okay, so what is it?
You wanted a longer podcast. I'm going to give it to you.
And what's that? So what's the...
It's time for the invasion.
How many... Isn't that like 12 movies?
Invasion of the Body Snatchers remakes. It is a 4-way fight for number 1. They got Invasion from the 1950s, you got Invasion from the 1970s, you got the Body Snatchers in the 90s, and you got the Invasion in the 2000s.
Good God. So, thank God we have a break in between recordings, jackass.
4-way brawl, baby.
Okay, so that's the next time. That's the next set of movies. Until next time, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.